Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome back to the NOFO Live podcast, where I, Sunita, along with my co-host Tracy, we hop on every Friday and talk about all things North Fork. Yes, I tried to print a mirrored version of the sign, but I think now it's too glossy. So we're getting there. It says NOFO Live as opposed to the reversed version in the normal canvas. Anyway, I partied. Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Morning, Sunita. How are you?
I'm good. You're going to have to carry the show today. I partied too late into the night yesterday, having
It's
fun
you.
conversations with friends. So I'm dragging a little bit. But wanted to say Tracy is traveling for work. So Chris from North Fork Sun is co-hosting. Good morning and welcome.
It's good to see you again.
You too. How's your new venture at the North Fork Sun going?
Oh, it's going pretty well. It's a 7 day a week job, but I'm really enjoying it. It's really starting to take shape. We're looking for a digital ad executive now, and hopefully we'll be expanding beyond that. In the weeks and months ahead.
Well, I personally love. Good morning, Matt. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. I love your police blotter stories, Chris, because they crack me up. I mean, not all of them are supposed to be funny, but sometimes the things that happen in town are just crack you up, make you
Yeah,
chuckle.
yeah. It's got to be interesting being a South Hole police officer,
Absolutely.
especially in this
Absolutely.
time.
Yes. Well, welcome, Matt. I see you're on location.
Yeah, sorry, it's probably a little noisy, but we got to haul up a few cages just so my guys have something to do, and then but we'll show you. We're dropping this one.
Oh my God, I love it.
Wow.
We don't even need conversation. We could just watch a day in the
Yeah,
life
we
of
could
an
just
oyster
watch a day in
farmer.
the life.
Everybody wants to come to work with me today, so I guess you guys are lucky to get to join us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
Okay.
right, so while the cages are being pulled in and put out, why don't we start with just telling everybody who you are and what you do, Matt?
I'm Matt Ketcham, and I'm the owner of Peconic Gold Oysters, and yeah.
So from the little I know about oyster farming, I know that the oysters are usually named after the water that they're farmed in.
Yeah, so people like some people like to have a little sexual innuendo. Some people like to describe the oyster a little bit. Some people like to name it for where it's from. Um, so we call ours Peconic Golds because they're from the Peconic, and they also have a beautiful gold color coming out of those bottom cages that we use.
Mhm.
So are there different varieties of oysters, or does the shell just grow differently based on where they are?
So based on how they're handled and what type of cages people use, the oysters will come out looking different. So I like a Merlot grape. It's the same grape, but it'll taste like, how the wine was made and where it's from. So for wine, they call it terroir. For us, we call it merroir. And it's all the same species from Maine down to Texas, Louisiana. However, we have a trademark on our brand, and yeah, they taste different. From here to a few miles away, they taste totally different, and that's because of the way they grow and also the different kinds of algae coming out of the creek and the different tidal flow. And we're here in beautiful Cutchogue Harbor. That's Robbins Island, right behind me. That's New Suffolk over that way, and then to the north, that's Cutchogue. So we're in a beautiful, they say Cutchogue is the sunniest place in New York State, and it is today. It's also very calm and sheltered, but has incredible tidal flow. So that means a lot of luscious food is getting moved right in front of the oyster's face, and yeah, that's what they eat. They eat the algae.
Matt, when did the industry move from catching oysters in the wild to actually farming them and kind of digging deeper in the process of raising them?
I'd say it was like early 2000s. There really was a boom with oyster farming, kind of like there was with sushi in the 90s.
Hmm.
Um, and also, there's just been more of a connection between people and food. People are really into the microbreweries and knowing where their food is from. So, Yeah, the wild oysters kind of have gone away for one reason or another, and growing them, it's amazing because we don't put anything into the water. We're actually creating a better environment with the oysters. We don't have to feed them. We don't have to use pesticides or fertilizers. They're improving the water. They're creating critical fish habitat for a lot of keystone species, and yeah, and everybody loves oysters, and it's really a high value product, so it generates a lot of money for the economy.
And how has oyster farming changed from its sort of roots in the early 2000s to now? I'm sure it's gotten much more refined, and you're getting much better product.
Yeah, so now we're using different kinds of gear, and there's always improvements with that. Like now we're using a lot of floating gear, which creates a higher value product. And like for me, a lot of people have upwellers for their really small seed oysters at a
Hmm.
dock. I don't really have a shoreside facility, so for me, my floating cages act as a nursery. And we're gonna pick a couple bottom cages up here, and I'll show you guys the floating gear on the way back to our workstation.
Okay, great.
So what is the life cycle of an oyster? Meaning, when do you start, and how tiny is it when you start versus when it's on somebody's plate, chopped and ready to eat?
Yeah, can you walk us
Well,
through the process?
yeah, so some people start with oysters a lot smaller than me. The smallest I'll get my oysters is 9 to 13 millimeters, which is like a quarter of the size of my pinky nail, and I got pretty short nails.
Hmm.
Um, but some people start a lot smaller. So basically, the oysters are spawned in a lab, and we select high quality brood stock for that. Oysters that are have to have really good attributes, nice size, shape, good shells on them, and stuff that's reaching market size in a good amount of time. So they spawn them, and then within 48 hours, the oysters are looking to set on something permanent. So in a lab, they're setting onto microscopic pieces of shell. Um, and that's the cool thing about oyster farming is, we could take these things and organize them and move them around, where other farms, you can't transplant your faster growing tomatoes next to your faster growing tomatoes and your ugly ones with your ugly ones. You kind of have what you have, but we also have the challenge of all of our stuff being underwater, which is hard to keep track of when your farm looks like this and you just have, I don't know if you can see, you just got buoys and high flyers all over the place. So I have like a whiteboard map in my cabin, but I think I'm the
Well,
only one that can
your
read it.
office views are unbeatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. On a nice day.
Yes. Okay, so you get these quarter of a size pinky nail starter seed, right? And
Yep.
then how long before they end up on a plate?
For me, it takes about a year to a year and a half,
Mhm.
and we touch them about 8 to 12 times a piece.
Mhm.
So less than a month. Less than a month each time. Like you don't touch them like you touch them once a month.
Yeah, on average, every 4 weeks we touch the oysters. Yeah,
Interesting.
during the growing season, and then right now we have more gear in the water than ever because it's the fall, and they're going to stop growing the end of October. But then it's going to take us that whole winter, picking our days, picking our nice days, just to get through everything one last time. And then by the spring, we have most of the farm kind of cleared off, and we're selling stuff a little bit smaller, and we're making room for all the new oysters that we'll be buying. And we've been planting seed early in the year, like in June, and we also put some stuff in July. But I like to get a lot of stuff in early and take advantage of the full growing season when I have the room.
Matt, it seems like the farming of oysters is a really complicated process. How- What are the challenges that you faced when you first got into when you first started Peconic Gold Oysters?
Well, I will say I came from fishing, and oyster farming is the most complicated business. Fishing, you build a boat, you build your gear, you catch your fish, you send it to the market, you get what you get. With us, you have logistics to deal with, and then growing the oysters, you have different kinds of gear, you have all different kinds of equipment. We got hydraulic and electric haulers on here. We got 3 motors just on this boat, generators, tumblers, and then you finally grow the oysters. You have a nice product. now you have to do marketing, and then you have to do sales, and then you have to ship them here, you have to ship them there, you have all the logistics with that. And then this time of year, after Labor Day, our sales drop. So now we have to hold on to stuff for much longer. Now we have stuff getting big, and that's another concern. And we have a lot of stuff coming down from up north really cheap. A lot of guys panic selling. So for me, I just spend the money on more gear and hold this stuff a lot longer, and that's why I do really well in the spring. I
Yeah,
So
usually
about
go the opposite way of the rest of the crowd.
it's really got to be a challenge with a small business competing with such large distributors across the industry.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of consolidation lately. A lot of guys, becoming big conglomerates, buying up a lot of different farms. Um, it's always like a money issue with farming. It's cash flow is a big thing, and you're borrowing money to put seed in the water, but restaurants owe you money, and yeah, a lot of times you just got to weather the storm and survive. And to grow at all, it's a lot of reinvestment.
so you mentioned you're a fisherman. So what got you started on this journey of life on the sea?
I kind of saw the writing on the wall with fishing, just nothing going that way. With nothing getting better, regulations and just the fishing getting worse. And then I was going to school up at the University of Rhode Island, and my friend Perry Rasso up there, who owns Peconic Oyster Bar, started growing oysters, I think just as a grad school project, and it just turned into something really cool. And I saw some guys doing it. And at first I thought, I want to be a macho man, I want to be a fisherman. But then, I thought, well, oysters is like you're farming them, but as hard as you work, you can make them better.
Hmm.
So, yeah, and then I just kind of jumped into that full steam ahead oystering.
Yeah.
So let's go even further back. Like, how did you even get to fishing? Like, what was your background before then? Or did you jump straight from school to oyster farming?
Yeah, I asked my dad to take me fishing on my seventh birthday for no reason at all, and he took me on the Rosie out of Mauritius, and he didn't dress me right. It was a cold end of March day, and I froze my butt off, and for some
So,
reason I liked it, and I was hooked ever since.
so was he a fisherman, or he wasn't a fisherman, which is why he didn't dress you right?
Yeah, he was not a fisherman, which is
I see.
why he did not dress me right or have any clue what he was doing.
So it's not a family business that sort of started you on this journey.
Correct. No, I'm first generation Bayman.
And did you have any mentors that sort of taught you the ropes or that you came up under?
Yeah, so I was fishing out of Orient Point, and Captain Mike Baccio from the Prime Time was definitely a mentor to me. I learned a lot, and I also learned a lot just fishing throughout different fisheries, how to get stuff done on the water.
So how many oyster seed do you start with each year?
Um, we put over 1 million in this year, and you'll hear guys talk about how many they put in the water, but it's really about, you can put 1 million tiny ones and only 250,000 make it to market, but we're selling not quite 1 million, but close to that every year.
Jesus.
Well, that's awesome. What do
Yeah.
I know you mentioned tidal flow and algae? Like, what do oysters need to thrive? I mean, obviously, you guys are pulling them out and doing what you need to do, but what kind of conditions do they need to thrive?
They need some good flowing water. They need some healthy water, which we have incredible water quality here in Peconic Bay. And Peconic Bay is so deep and has such strong currents moving in and out of it. We have all this fresh, beautiful Block Island Sound ocean water coming in and out. Um, so, yeah, that's what they need. And in order to have a good spot to farm them, you need a place that you can work when it's a little breezy. Like it's even a little bit breezy now, but it's nice and calm here.
And isn't it like sort of almost like a cycle loop where aren't oysters also doing their part to sort of better the water, if you will, by filtering it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, they're filtering out nitrogen from the water, and they're creating a better environment.
Matt, that's one of the most interesting statistics I've ever read about oysters is that an adult oyster can strain up to 50 gallons a day.
Yeah, yeah, an older adult oyster, definitely.
How does that work? How does it? How does such a little thing? filter so much water.
Mussels actually filter even more, but yeah, maybe I'll show you the anatomy of an oyster when we get back to the boat. We're just gonna pull 2 more cages in here.
Sure.
Well, I love that the guys from Relic are on here supporting and cheering you on. Jermaine, like the fisherman. I mean, literally, he is the fisherman or the cutter, I should say. I love it. I love the way the North Fork is so supportive of each other. So I don't know if you can see all the comments coming through, but all the guys are on here cheering you on, Matt.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I see him.
Matt, what are the most pressing challenges facing small oyster farmers like yourself out here on the North Fork?
I'd say the challenge of having no working waterfront has got to be number one. And the Working Waterfront Act just passed yesterday, which basically allows the county to buy development rights similar to what they do for other land-based farms in order to preserve working waterfront, because logistics is a really big challenge in this industry. You know, where are you going to keep all these cages? Where are you going to keep all your extra equipment, and how are you going to access the water? We're losing dock slips to big money yachts, and dockage is getting more expensive. We can use the local ramp and we get out early, but a lot of times we need to get in the afternoon to catch a delivery truck that's bringing stuff to the city, and you know, you got a million people using it. So yeah, logistics is a challenge, and having working waterfront. And if you can find working waterfront, it's very expensive, and it has to be commercial or zone marine.
And from a regulatory point of view, is there one, if you could change one policy or if you could change one regulation to better support oyster farmers, is there one you've got in mind?
Yeah, this Working Waterfront Act that just passed is great. I would say, like, locally, like, let us apply for a commercial mooring permit maybe in some of the creeks to take a little strain off the challenge of having a dock slip.
Okay. Okay.
Interesting. How were the COVID years for you guys in terms of continuing to keep the farm open?
When COVID hit, I really thought it was the end of the world, and I was like scrambling to get my stuff at all the local farm stands and breweries, because people were just buying stuff from here, there, everywhere. But it really showed how our community came together, and the farm stand got so busy. And I didn't think much when they passed the farm stand law for us oyster guys, you know.
But it really changed the game.
Yeah, put a cooler out in front of the house, and I didn't think much of it, but it really was. It really was something. It really became a lot. That's why lately I've been putting a lot of money into my farm stand and improving it. And you know, right now that's a major part of our business, is going direct to consumer. So I think COVID really accentuated that, and really showed me that, like, hey, this is the way to go. And even if I was to eventually scale down my production, I could always go direct to the public, you know, because it's really a small part of my sales, but it's a big part of my business.
So let's talk a little bit about your farm stand, because you're making it seem like you put a cooler out there and it's there, which you do, but it's a really nice looking farm stand. So who built that? And oh my God, that Yeti cooler is just incredible.
Yeah, we got a kit for like a rustic looking firewood shed, basically, and it fits all the requirements that, you know, that the town allows. And then we did some local native plantings from Ian at Coastal Planting. So he did some local beach grass and Hollywood junipers with some sand. Because my number one priority was, like, it's got to look local, native, but also has to be low maintenance, because you see a lot of people go overboard with landscaping, but then it's a lot of upkeep, and I'm already stretched for time. So yeah, I've been really happy with it. Weed it once or twice during the year, and it looks great.
So tell everybody where the farm stand is, and what do you have hours, or can they just pick up anytime, and what is typically in there?
Yeah, it's, you know, 7 in the morning we stock it. It's usually open till like 9 o'clock at night, and it's self-serve, Venmo or cash. It's on the north side of Sound Avenue, in between Depot and Cox. And Yeah, 21125 County Road 48 in Cutchogue.
And how long do you keep it stocked? Is it?
I'm open every day, all day, year round. Once in a while, you'll open it, there'll be nothing in there. It's because I'm getting fresh ones. But yeah, pretty much every day we're stocking it with the best stuff that we see from every day.
Speaking of hours, Matt, what are
That's
your
good.
hours like? Do they change throughout the year, or are you pretty much working around the clock most of the year?
This time of year, it's honestly, it's 120 hours a week for me, which is too much. And my poor wife is doing everything at home with two kids and another one on the way. So trying to figure out how I can step away a little more, but it's kind of hard.
Would you like to see your kids get into this industry? Have they been out on the boat? I know they're young.
Yeah, I don't know. I think about it sometimes. I'd love for him to do it, but then some days, it's like it's a great way to make a living, but it's definitely a tough, stressful one. So I don't know. I don't know anything else though. I'm probably maybe I'm a lot happier than guys that are stuck at a computer all day, and that probably is not for me. I'm probably not cut out to be on land, but I don't know. We'll see. My daughter actually is probably more likely to be the oyster farmer than my firstborn son. She's really tough.
Well, and I'm betting they already have the right gear to be on the boat.
Yeah. I have them out. I have them out sometimes, and my wife works for Back to the Bays, and they have this awesome field guide that shows you um, all the different creatures, the different kinds of birds, and shells and shellfish. So yesterday I brought him home a brittle sea star, and he loves to go to the beach and collect the different shells, and he knows all about them. So that's been really cool. So I have him out here once in a while, but it's kind of dangerous with these big cages swinging around.
Sure.
And that's my deckhand Sammy from Mauritius.
Hi,
That's
Sam.
TJ Mazzafarro from Greenport.
Hey, TJ.
Yep.
So cool. You got such a perfect day to be out on the boat and be on the live show.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So we just hold these up. This is big seed that I bought in the fall from my friend up in Rhode Island. And these are a good beginner oyster to grow. They're just beautiful. You see we got a lot of these white calciferous tubes on there.
Wow, they're
So it's good to
beautiful.
do it.
Those
Yeah, they're
are
beautiful.
those are big. They look ready to go.
Yeah, these ones, they are ready to go. We have a lot of stuff getting big right now. Um, but it's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem. But yeah, these are like really, really nice. So these will be going in the farm stand, and yeah, really nice. You can see they stick together when they grow, when they start getting crowded in the cages. But this is the perfect oyster. It's about 3 or 4 inches, perfect shape, and we'll open a couple up when we get back to the boat. And here's my floating gear over here. We'll take a quick look on the way back. I don't know if you can see them.
A little bit, yes.
A little bit.
Mostly
So
we
we,
see the boat.
yeah. So we only have 100 of these floating cages, but for us it's really good for the baby oysters. And also at the end, if the shapes are a little weird on some of the bigger oysters, we put them up in the floating cages because they constantly get knocked around and tumbled, and that gives them a really nice shape.
Now, do you leave them floating all year, or in the slow season do you submerge them?
So sinking the floating gear, it beats the heck out of the boat. It beats the heck out of the floats. But last year, me and a bunch of the guys were watching the weather, and we saw there was a chance of ice. And this is another example of me just going against the crowd. Nobody else sunk their floating gear. I was out here. I sunk all my stuff like in the nick of time, and I avoided the ice. And a lot of other guys got kind of crushed by it, but it was really dangerous for us to be sinking these things because we had to lift them in the boat and on top of all these floats was a lot of really heavy ice. So, it was almost a little scary doing it, but we got all 100 of our floating cages down on the bottom.
We just saw them in the background now floating behind you. So that was
Yep.
a perfect shot of them.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know who from Relic is on, but the guys want to know how important is shape when introducing the oysters to the market?
Shape is important. I grow a lot of triploids that have kind of a wacky shape, but as long as they sit on a plate good and are a good healthy animal with a fat meat and they open easy, you can get away with a lot. Not that I'm trying to get away with anything, but in the spring I sell a lot of these triploids. They grow super fast. They're almost like a seedless watermelon. So with those, the shapes are a little bit funny, but they're the nicest oysters on the market in the spring, so it's really no problem.
So you mentioned ice. What are some of the other dangers that you worry about with the cages? Like, do you worry before you pull them out of the water to see what's going to be in there?
Yeah. So ideally, you have a lot more time to check around and look at different stuff on the farm and make a plan. I pretty much just go off my map now because I got so much stuff in the water, but I'm pretty good about getting to stuff right at the perfect time, and we're really efficient how we work with our gear. If I'm over here dropping stuff, it's because I'm lifting something else that's going to go into the gear I already have on deck. And you're going to see in a second our big barge over here that we do all our work on. This boat just ferries stuff around, really.
So how many boats do you have? Do you have more than one?
Too many, but I got 3.
Wow. Who knew it was going to be that much investment? I mean, this, like you said, it's a really complicated. So, what would be your advice to somebody who's watching the show thinking, oh, this, or not even watching the show, who's eating oysters on a plate right now, pre-shuck, going, this is really cool. Maybe I should be an oyster farmer.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of guys that left their stressful corporate life for a nice oyster farming career, and they don't last long. This is a business that you can't really dip your toe in. You really have to be all in and ready for anything. Ready to come out here and sink your gear when it's blowing out because the ice is coming. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you have to start small, but you have to just be all in from the start. And yeah, we're actually building another boat this fall for next year.
Well, first of all, the fact that you start from building a boat is, I'm like I see the hurdle there, let alone then it be floating in the middle of an ice storm while you're trying to save the oysters.
Yeah. So we keep our two big. We keep this big workstation, this big barge here. Actually, looks really pretty right now with the flag flapping around and the name on the side. I'll show you in a second. But this just stays on a mooring here. We can move it around a little bit, but this is our whole office and facility right here.
I mean, like you said, it's a beautiful sunny day, so your views can't be beat. But I'm a little afraid to think about days when it's cold and windy and rainy and you're still out there doing what you need to do.
Yeah, yeah. This. I'll tell you, like these few weeks, September, October is great. We'll get some like really windy days where stuff's crashing around, and you're kind of like you get a little battle fatigue from stuff just crashing around the whole day. You're just like nonstop fight or flight response. But this cool weather is great, and the oysters love it too. So right now the water temperature is cooling down, and they're fattening up for the winter. They're getting ready to hibernate because they'll be done growing at the end of October. And yeah,
So
so
obviously you have the farm stand for direct consumer, somebody who wants to buy a bag of 12 or 24 or whatever you have in there. But typically, do you sell to local restaurants or do you sell further out, or what does your business look like?
we ship a lot of stuff into the city, and we also sell a lot of what we sell goes to Braun's, and they distribute a lot to restaurants. And also, since the start, I've had a lot of local restaurant accounts, like out of here on the North Fork, and also like up in Patchogue where I grew up. So yeah, direct to restaurant. a lot to bronze, a lot to the city, and then my farm stand. My farm stand does really well.
So if someone wants to taste them and go to a restaurant, what are some of the local restaurants where they can go and order your oysters?
Well, first I got to say Little Creek. He's done a lot to build my brand right from the start. Little Creek in Greenport. They got an
In their new
awesome,
beautiful location, which I
awesome
mean, I
new
know it was a,
location.
yeah, I know it was too much, like the move and whatever, but I really think that space is perfect for them, or they've made it perfect for them, I should say.
Yeah, great spot. I thought that was a change for the better. Um, yeah, there Noah's, Frisky, Catch, Oyster Bar in Patchogue, Porters in Bellport, Painters in Bellport, um, Legends in New Suffolk. I'm probably missing a few, but yeah,
Well, but I love the that you have distributors like Bronze and others that are taking your local grown oysters here and putting them all over the city and beyond. That's awesome.
yeah, yep. Yeah, we wouldn't be able to move this many oysters around by ourselves. So, it's important to have that balance of wholesale and direct to restaurants too.
All right, are you going to show us your shucking skills?
Sure. I need Sammy from Mauritius to open a cage up.
Oh, we're gonna see the whole cage. But how many oysters usually in a cage?
Probably 1,200 in one of these triple stack
Oh, so this is not
bottom
like
tray cages.
this is not a lightweight, just pull it up and carry it. This is a heavy cage.
Nah, this ain't for lightweights. Not for lightweights.
1,200 oysters is a lot. And are they metal cages on top of that?
Yeah, it's vinyl coated wire mesh. So yeah.
Matt, for all the complications of oyster farming, it sounds like a really fascinating industry.
Yeah, a lot of people think you just put these in the water and grow them, but obviously it's more complicated than that. And then, like we were talking about before, I have a lot of different genetics on my farm. That's why my oysters will look different week to week. But that's what allows me to be consistent with the quality every week because sometimes I need to let stuff sit, but I know these other ones are going to be good, so I'll go to those other ones. I'll tell you what, Sammy's pretty good at shucking. Sammy, go ahead. I'm opening them? Yeah, you're opening them. Sammy's good. I'm throwing him into the fire. He's got his gloves on.
Well, I can't even imagine how many oysters you think you've shucked in your lifetime.
Um, a lot. But I used to cut porgies for a living, so that was a lot more brutal. All right, let's see.
Look at
So he
that.
got in. He's staying along the top to cut the muscle. Wow, he did.
Wow.
He did
Chris, don't you
perfect.
wish you were there on the boat? I
Yeah,
mean, I do right
yeah,
now. I wish I was
sure.
there on location.
Showed
Wow.
those back in the water.
Yeah. Why not?
And really, I
Nice.
mean, it doesn't
So you
even
see
need
that big
anything.
fat belly right there?
Mm-hmm.
That big fat belly, that's storing glycogen for the winter. He's gonna live off that all winter. These are the nice meaty gills. That's algae along the gills, and that's the muscle. That would be the only part that you eat of a scallop. So that's the sweet part. Go ahead, Sammy. Describe the flavor. Salty, creamy, briny. I mean,
It sounds
pretty good.
perfection. That sounds
Yeah.
like perfection. And they really don't even need anything on it. I mean, if you really want to
Yeah.
go for it, like a tiny dollop of lemon juice or lime juice, but they need nothing. They're
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, my wife turned me on to a squeeze of lemon and 3 drops of hot sauce. And hot sauce is great because there's so many different kinds out there. And a lot of times when we do events, people ask us, "Oh, I never had an oyster before," or "How do I have it?" So I'll tell them like, and then somebody next to them will say, "Oh, just slurp it down, just slurp it down." And I'm like, "No, you're supposed to eat it like you would eat a steak. Like you're supposed to chew it and enjoy it, even though they're good for you. It's not medicine." Um, so yeah, I like to take a little sip of the brine first, have a couple straight, and then I'll mess around with the lemon, and then I'll mess around with hot sauce or some other stuff. Mignonette is great too. You can do a seasonal mignonette, like a Wickham's peach mignonette we did for the oyster jamboree that we had a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Do you make any of these things and have them in your stand, or do you just have the oysters?
I just have oysters there, and right now we just stocked some complimentary little insulated tote bags so people can take their oysters home and keep them cold on the way.
Oh, how cool. And earlier, there have been so many comments. I can't keep up with them. Your mustache got a couple of comments, so obviously that's noticeable for people. But I wanted to mention, somebody mentioned merch. So how can someone get Peconic Gold Oyster merch?
We got all kinds of stuff on our website.
So
Yeah,
it's
you
not
got
at
a
the farm
beautiful
stand.
website. Your
Yeah.
website
Oh,
looks
thank you.
great.
Yeah, my wife did the website. She did a great job, and she's got all the merch on there. If there's anything you're having a hard time with, just let us know. But yeah, everything's on the website. Somebody bought a couple T-shirts just before, actually.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh my God, Matt, we could continue to talk to you for a whole hour.
Yeah.
But let's let's wrap up and jump into the No for Life 5. If you were taking Chris and I out for a meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, where would we go and what would we eat?
Well, first we'd go to Little Creek and have some oysters. Then we'd have a fancy drink at Noah's. Then we'd go to Frisky Oyster and get the 𝗚𝗀𝗀𝗃. And then to finish up, we might have to go to Legends for some sushi, and then maybe go to Main Road Biscuit Company and get the fried oyster omelet, or get the chicken and waffles.
Oh my
I
God. I
love it.
think in 4 years of doing this show, I've never had anybody give like a progressive dinner.
Yeah.
I love
Oyster tour.
this. This totally has to be an itinerary. I know Tracy is going to be so bummed that she missed this because she loves oysters and she really does make the best oysters Rockefeller. So, she's going to be watching and salivating later.
All
Amen.
right.
Okay. Sunrise, sunset, what do you catch? And where, like if not on the boat?
Well, I like getting the sunrise from the boat. I love being out early, getting a jump on the day. As far as the sunset, I'm a little scared to publicize this spot, but we sponsored a beach with Relic Sustainability, and we have those little yellow baskets. I like to go there with my kids, pick up some garbage, let the dog run around. That's Duck Pond Lane and Cutchogue, right by my farm stand. You need the Southold Town permit to go there, but really awesome beach on the Sound, and yeah, we try to keep it clean over there, and that's probably my favorite spot for a sunset.
Well, and lucky for you, your oysters are on the bay, so you are out there in the morning and you actually do catch, I can't even imagine, some stunning sunrises, which are
Yeah,
as good, if not better, than sunsets sometimes.
Mhm.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Cocktail, mocktail, brewery, vineyard, where might we see you?
Uh, Winery. How about Sanino Winery right by the farm stand?
Mhm.
Really good wine. I love the reds. They got some. Once in a while, he'll gift me an old bottle with no label. It'll be like a 2017 Merlot or something, like something really special. So,
I
um,
was going to say really nice people too.
Yeah, very
yes,
nice.
awesome people. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And if you were cooking at home, are there any farm stands and or any specific produce from certain places that you enjoy?
We have a partial share with Sang Lee.
Mhm.
I love getting the yu choy, ong choy, and a lot of different stuff from there. Scallions are great. I mean, we got some onions from there. I was pretty much eating them straight the other day. They're so good. In the morning, we usually swap out whatever's left in the farm stand for the guys at Wickham. So you see, this is the key to staying hydrated during the summer. We have all this fresh fruit.
Right, right.
Watermelon, nectarines are my favorite. So we do that with Wickham's in Cutchogue. And then on my way home, I'll ask my wife if she needs anything for dinner, and we'll usually hit Wowak for corn or, we really like the lima beans, but I don't think we saw any lima beans yet this year.
Oh my God, your the shot that you just showed of the peaches and the watermelon really warmed my heart because I mean and it kind of leads into our last question about what you love about being part of the North Fork community, but you
Mhm.
kind of half answered it. Just the
Yeah.
fact that you guys are bartering the oysters for what you need
Yep.
to start
To
out
stay
your day
hydrated.
is such a natural and everyday part of our North Fork life here.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's what we love about it. And I'm always telling my wife we got to take full advantage of this and make a perfect huge meal every night, but it doesn't always happen. But we really appreciate when we can, throw some local corn on the grill and have a beautiful salad and yeah, sit outside and have a nice meal in the summer.
Amen. Amen.
Well, it's so evident from so many comments and so many people that have sort of showed up to support and watch what you're doing. What a valuable part of the Northville community you are. So thank you for working, 180 hours a week or whatever it is that you put in to put these delicious oysters on our table. Remind everybody where the farm stand is and how they can get your oysters, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hungry people today.
Yeah, 21125 County Road 48 in Cutchogue,
And
in between 𝗣𝗲𝗰𝗀 and Cox, north side of Sound.
And some of these oysters that you picked up today will probably end up there.
Yeah, we're probably gonna pull like 500 or 600 for the weekend. I don't know what this guy was doing. Just waked us.
Okay.
Hold on, we're
Hazards of
crashing around.
live
Hold
production.
on, we're crashing around. What was that?
Life on the
Yeah,
water.
yeah. Hey, you never know. Some guys, yeah,
You must have some
whatever.
stories.
Yeah, yo, yeah, we got stories.
Yeah.
One time, yeah, I'll tell you one good story. One time you see, we got cages everywhere. We really need a bigger boat. Actually, we need another boat. This stuff is air drying from yesterday. So I was climbing around. I fell into the water. Cage fell on me, hit my head. My glasses fell in the water. They were a camouflaged pair of coasters. And they had a lifetime warranty on the coasters, but, they were gone. So I can't use that. 3 years later, I catch them scalloping like a mile that way. Sent them back, and they gave me a brand new pair.
Oh
Oh
my
my
God.
God. That is
Yeah.
a great. We should have started with that. Tell us
Yeah.
your best stories.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well,
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us, Matt. I know you're busy as hell.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
and thank you for being out on the water. It totally made our day. I mean, this was such a fun thing to watch. I know it's real hard work for you guys, but thank you for taking us along with you.
Thank
Amen.
you. This is
Uh,
going to be replayed somewhere or
yes, we're going to
posted.
save the recap so those that missed the live will sit there, and it's also on our website and our YouTube channel, so you'll be able to catch it
Cool.
again. Thank you,
Awesome.
Chris, for filling in for Tracy. Have
Anytime.
have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you
Nice to
next
meet
week.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.